No, we are live now in the Now group. So hello and welcome again to the 97th, I think, episode of my 100 days. So it's not long to go now, and I'm already preparing for the next lot, but not another 100 days, Frances. I think I've
well, impressive.
It's not only worn myself out, but it's been fascinating knowing, because this is what it's all about. It's getting to know you guys, you know, in the Now group, and getting to know what you do, getting to see you, personality, because that's what it's all about now. Because it's, you know, we've all heard about know, like, and trust, and that's what it is. And video is the way to go. So what we're going to do is go over to Frances and find out what Frances does. So I'm going to say, Frances, who are you and what do you do?
Hi there, Lindsay, and thank you so much for this opportunity. And it's lovely to meet you remotely. What do? I am an upholsterer. I've been an upholsterer now for 3 years. My workshop is 2 minutes walk from my tenement flat here in Glasgow.
Frances, I'm going to stop you just for 1 second. You were frozen there for a little while. You're back again on now. We're just going to keep going because if it does freeze up, we can hear your voice and it's perfect. Is that all right with you?
Yes, of course. Of course, that's fine.
Go for
it. So I have been an upholsterer, a professional upholsterer for the past 3 years. It's a big change in career for me. That's not where I began life at all, but it is hugely creative and great fun and actually quite challenging. There's an awful lot more to it than I thought whenever I applied to do the course. I retrained in Stirling at a great workshop there, an independent workshop. And the course is backed by the Association of Master Upholsterers and Soft Furnishers. So it's a high level of attainment. And I felt very importantly that if clients were going to spend money, I needed to prove my worth as they walked through the door, not just as they walked out the door with their lovely chair or whatever it might be. So it was very important to me to make sure that I had the right skills and knowledge, and also you just keep on learning. Every piece of furniture offers another challenge, which is tremendous. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Have you always had an interest in furniture?
Yes, I think I have. My sister and brother-in-law ran a vintage shop in Belfast for many years, and at a moment of not being very employed, I used to look after that shop. So I certainly got used to and sort of recognized the value of furniture. But it wasn't upholstery then. They weren't dealing in anything that was upholstered because that was a whole other part of the business. But my mum was an amazing sewer, as people of that generation were. So she always made our clothes. And then as a teenager, I watched her recover our suite at home. I didn't think twice about it. I didn't think it was brilliant. I didn't, I just thought that's what mummies do. But looking back on it, I'm hugely impressed. She had no training. She just figured it out. And so when I started to sort of love fabrics and have my own place and think about things, then, remembering that always prompted the thought, well, what do you think? Would you like to have a go? And I did a night class and I enjoyed that very much. But that was leisure. And then being a woman of a certain age and having done many other things, many other jobs and careers and whatever, I thought, well, if you really want to have a go, then you need to do it. You need to invest in yourself. You need to try and see where it takes you. And I just loved it. I am good at it. I got all the exams. And the other side of me, that sort of the academic interest and literary side, we had to do a couple of dissertations on the history of furniture and understanding fabrics. And so it wasn't just taking a chair and stripping it down and covering it, although that is quite enough. But we also had to get a grasp on furniture and how it has evolved, and what has changed, and the different kinds of fabrics and the different shapes. And so that's a tremendous background, and that's I've loved that very much, loved it.
Oh yes, fascinating, because it's not something, I have to say, that I think about when I look at a piece of furniture, but it's obvious. Wouldn't it be wonderful to know how that came about, and the fashion of it? But you've not always. I mean, how long ago was it when you started doing upholstery?
Well, I started upholstery proper probably about 7 or 8 years ago, when I did the night course, um, and so before that I'd been playing with things, and I'd been reading books, and I'd had a go with a couple of dining chairs and whatever, and that was fun, that was good. But then you need specific tools, so you've straight away got to invest in this leisure activity or whatever initially, because you can't get very far if you just have household tools. They're quite specific, staple lifters and whatever, and staplers indeed. So once I decided, right, I really want to have a go at this, that's the way I went, slowly but surely, to be honest. And now, every television program, every drama I watch, I'm not just looking at the story, I'm looking at the background, I'm looking at the furniture and thinking, well, that's quite nice, and I wonder how they did that. And so even morning television, you're looking at the sofas thinking, that's quite interesting, and colors and fabrics. It's a lovely world. Yeah.
That must be wonderful. But you used to work for Guinness, did you not?
I did. That was one of my very first jobs as a young woman. I left school and did a secretarial course, and got a job with Guinness in Belfast in their marketing department. I was there for just about 8 or 9 years, and I loved it. What a place to work as a young person, because marketing was a really exciting time. They were launching different products. I worked for different brands. I had great bosses. It was the beginning of sort of a career in event management, to be honest, because I was given the responsibility to run promotions and competitions, and so it was very exciting, despite the desperate time in the north that it was, because going on all around us was a horrible spree of murder and hellishness, to be honest. But yes, as at that age, I lived in a real bubble. We got on with it, and we had our own lives to live, and thank God, I got through all of that. And then I went back to study. So I left Guinness to go to university, and I did a degree as a mature student. And had I not been with Guinness for those years, I probably would never have done that. It gave me the confidence and the knowledge that I really should give it a go. So Open University and then university proper was tremendous. And really that was the stepping stone to come to Scotland. I came to Scotland to run a film festival. I'd worked on it in Belfast, and then came over here, and that's it. Basically, I ended up in Scotland and worked on that festival for 12, 13 years. While always having that creative interest in embroidery, or I've never made clothes, but I suppose craft work rather than dressmaking or whatever. So I'd always pottered about with those kinds of things. Never had a garden, so maybe that's why. I've recently realized that a garden would be really nice. But yeah, so that brought me to Scotland, really, and then this is 20 odd years on that I'm here, and now in this lovely career. Hard work, that there's no denying that. You've got to have a business head on. It's wonderful to do the work, but you've got to go out and get the work to do, and that's where social media comes into its own, really. and this is just a tremendous opportunity for people to see, you know, the kind of people that are doing it now. It used to be a man's world. Upholstery was very much a career for someone from apprenticeship right through. But certainly in my years at Stirling studying, there were two men who are great upholsterers. The rest of us are women who are either deciding to try something else, needing to do something else, and have an interest in having a go. So yeah, it's been a great journey. Love it. My sofa. I did my own sofa recently. So I bought it in Glasgow within a week of moving from Inverness down to Glasgow. So it was 13 years old. A very modern sofa, and it's still very modern design. But it took me a couple of weekends to get it together. But I'm so glad. It's like anyone really. You never do the work in your own home that you actually want to, if that's what your job is. But I just thought, right, I can't bear this anymore. So brought everything home with me, and there it was, in the middle of my lounge.
Fantastic. And you said a couple of weekends, you know, just like that. A couple of weekends, I upholstered the sofa. Oh.
Well, it's I needed a little bit of help because it's one thing that I couldn't lift on single-handedly. But yeah, you do manage to maneuver things. That is one part of the job actually that is quite surprising. You need strength and stamina because you are doing a lot of lifting and pulling, and tension is so important. And if you don't get that right, then the furniture, it won't last. The upholstery won't last. So it's not a good enough job. And it's being able to feel that and understand it, and that definitely takes time. But you just know when you've got it right. You can overstretch as well, but you really know when you've done that.
Goodness. I have a chaise longue that I when I move, I want that upholstered, so I know where to come to.
I'd be delighted to have a look. Yeah,
it would be lovely. Do you if you know, when I want the chaise longue worked on, would I arrange for that to come to your workshop, or is there a procedure?
There is a procedure, and what happens is I look at a couple of pictures first of all, which is really helpful. Probably visit your home and get a sense of the how good the stuffings are under the cover. So it's trying to work out how big a job it is, and if there's a lot of show wood, is there a little bit of cleaning or tidying up of that to do? If there's anything, so you look to see how the frame is, how solid it is. And if the frame is solid, then you're absolutely fine. It's then a question of just how much needs to be reupholstered. So there isn't a lot of point stripping every piece of furniture back to a wooden frame if some of the stuffings are still fine. And sometimes, a chaise longue could have been upholstered in a traditional way with horsehairs and calicos and beautifully sewn, and all that might need is a repair. And so it's actually recognizing how much work needs to be done. So sometimes we would try not to undo a really lovely piece of upholstery, but if the fabrics underneath are worn, the hessian is worn through, then you can replace that. You can sew in a patch or whatever. And quite often that is what we do. It's lovely to strip it right back and start from scratch. But on the other hand, if you see an upholsterer's work from 50, 70, 100 years ago and it's still good, you so don't want to take that out.
Absolutely.
But if it's too worn, then it's got to go,
Yeah.
And that's when an estimate would come, is actually having a sense of how much work needs to be done. And then the fun bit is helping you choose a fabric. Either the choices are, it's just fantastic. overwhelming, actually. It can be. So it's certainly an idea to have a sense of what you're looking for, and then go for it. It's bespoke. It's your own. It's a huge investment. You know, it's not something that people jump into on a whim. But the results are, it's just a joy when someone comes to pick up you know, their dad's old chair, but they've put something quite different on it, and it's just fantastic. That's one of the best bits of the job. Yeah.
It must be. It must be. Because I've had some old chairs that had the old horsehair in, and I regret it totally. I threw them out, and I think, oh, but you know, at the time it felt right. But I've still got the chaise long, so that will be coming to you at some point, or you'll be checking it out first. Well, Frances, absolutely fascinating, really is, and I'm so happy to have actually met you, because upholstery to me, as you said, was a man's world, and to know that, because it is tough, it is strong. I mean, it can't be great on your nails.
It's rubbish, absolute rubbish. But that doesn't matter. I think as I'm a wee bit older, those things aren't the same anymore.
Just as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last question. Actually, we're way over our 15 minutes, but oh, what the heck? Because I've never kept my 15 minutes yet, so why even try now? So there was a question. If you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would you be?
I think that because of the situation we're in at the moment, boy, do I want to see my sisters and family in Ireland. Even though you can see them remotely. So I would dearly love to be home and pottering about there and chatting and just hanging out with family. That would be wonderful. Or, you know, classic, yeah, give me a beach, please. That would be so nice. Beach with an umbrella and a great book. That would be okay. Actually, it's a bit unfortunate because my dog is sitting looking at us, and usually he'd be up here beside me at this stage. So he's not going to crash the picture at all. I'd hoped he might. He can't go to the beach, sadly. He wouldn't be allowed on the beach, but he could go home. He could go to Ireland.
He could, yeah. So that's plans for when we get back to some sort of normality, which is nice to look forward to.
Absolutely, yes. There'll be a big get together, I'm sure. Yep. Like everybody, I'm sure everyone is feeling a bit like that.
Yeah. Well, that was fabulous, Frances. Thank you so much. Really, really interesting.
Thank you. Lovely to talk to you. Take care.
And I'm going to say goodbye to everybody in the Now group, and thank you for watching, whether it's now or on replay. And any questions you've got about anything that you think that Frances could maybe help you with some part of your furniture, then links are in will be when I get around to it after we finish here, in the comments box. And I'm sure Frances will be able to help you any way she can in connection with what you do.
Delighted. Thank you.
So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody in the Now group, and we will catch you tomorrow. I'll tell you what I was doing. I was almost going to end the meeting, and all I want to do is say goodbye to Now. So we'll do that now. Bye.